If you were to check Twitter today, or perhaps more accurately, if you were to check on this same date 1 or 2 years ago, before the site was quite as far down the toilet as it is now, you would find a lot of new art of Mio from Xenoblade 3 being posted, largely by Japanese artists, and all with the same Japanese hashtag. Though if you were to look at art of other characters from the game, or other Mio art posted on other days, you would note it's not the same one that's usually used, so there must be something special about today. And there is. I would like to wish you all a happy, good Mio day, and explain why that is today. Hopefully you have a good one, and hopefully you can find all the good Mio content you want without having to resort to actually looking at it on Twitter. This entire video is going to be discussing Japanese wordplay, by the way, so if you're here for a video actually discussing Mio Xenoblade 3, you should probably find a different one. In order to get started here, we're going to have to write today's date out in Japanese, as perhaps unsurprisingly, this entire thing is several layers of number-based puns working together to make a Mio happen. The format for writing dates is month and then day, and after the number for the month, the same kanji for moon is used to mark that it's the month, and after the date, the same kanji for sun is used. Though, as they don't literally mean moon and sun in this case, the pronunciations are different because it is a different reading. 11月30日. For reference's sake, if the year was included in the date, it would be in front of the month using this kanji, which just means year, pronounced nen in this case. So any full date this year would start with 2024年. Also, as an aside, I have mentioned this in another video before, there are proper month names in Japanese, they're just not frequently used. So, 11月 literally just means 11th month, and all of the months in the ways they are commonly used are just 1 through 12 in that order. Which is why month names can sometimes get kind of weird in localized Japanese media. They could either just talk around it and say the first month of the year or that kind of thing, or they can just say January and ignore the fact that that doesn't really make sense in world because they would never have had the religion, culture, and mythology to come up with the same month names as us, or just invent brand new month names that make sense in universe but don't literally exist in the Japanese version, which is where we got Amathatober in Xenoblade 2 from. Anyway, we can ignore the year, and we can also get rid of the month kanji here because that does not play into the pun. We do need to keep the day kanji though, and we're going to move that to the side just a little bit, and to make this grammatically correct in the end, we're going to add the hiragana symbol for no, which in this case is a preposition indicating possessiveness, so roughly equivalent to the English word of, and this will then change the pronunciation of the kanji for day from nichi to hi, and this also gives us the last 2 characters in the names of a lot of holidays in Japanese. So basically what we're going to do is massage these 2 numbers to get something indicating Mio, and then add no hi at the end to signify that it is an important day. Did I say 2 numbers? Well, actually it is 4 numbers. An important caveat to this is that we're not going to read 11 and 30 as 11 and 30, we're going to read it as 1130 because each individual digit can be turned into something. While we're splitting up the digits into individual numbers, we are going to look at the 2 that make up the month and the day separately. So right now we have 1, 1. The first thing we're going to do, there are 2 ways to look at it. If you're using a font where the characters look basically the same, we can just say, oh, this 1, 1 is actually I. Or you could go the long way around, say your ones look a bit different than your uppercase I's, and turn each of these ones into the Roman numeral form of themselves. So you just have uppercase I, whichever way you go. You can do the next step immediately after getting I, but for clarity's sake, I'm going to turn these I's lowercase, because if you have an uppercase one, in English at least, it's common to just read it like I, the word that is just the letter I. So I'm going to make them lowercase, so it's a little bit more likely to read them the intended way, which is to go back into Japanese now, and read these 2 I's as a romanized Japanese sound, replacing them with the hiragana for I twice. When reading a double vowel out in hiragana, you do not pronounce it twice, but instead extend the sound to double length. So this is not I, it's I. And this now, just as written, is an actual word, no kanji, written exactly this way. It's a more casual form of yoi, which means good or nice in this context. And yes, we've only talked about the 11 so far, which means you can in fact turn every date in November into I something no hi, as long as you can figure out a pun to make with the 2 digits that make up the day. So Good Mio Day is far from the only one of these this month. At least in realms where I'm concerned, it's just an entire month where artists use wordplay to make up an excuse to draw something or someone they like. I believe the 22nd was Good Couple Day. I think there was some way to turn some date into Oshi earlier this month because I saw a lot of VTuber art the first week of November. There was of course a Good Thigh and a Good Butt Day, and I'm pretty sure there was even a Good Gyan Day, in case all 2 Makuve stands in the audience are upset about missing out on that. So yeah. We will only be talking about Mio for the rest of the video, but if you were wondering why November seems to be a month of themed art prompts for Japanese artists, this is why. Anyway, we are left with 2 more digits, 3 and 0. For the former, we are going to need to turn that into kanji, and the kanji for 1, 2, and 3 are very simple because they are just that many horizontal parallel lines. Doesn't get really complicated until 4, but anyway, while this is usually pronounced san, when meaning the number 3, in fact, I said it earlier in the video, sanju is 30 and literally means 310, it can also be pronounced mitsu, or simply mi. And this reading is where the katakana character for mi comes from. So we're going to take 3, we're going to turn it into kanji, and then that kanji into the katakana derived from it. And then we are only left with 0, and this one might actually be the simplest of all of them. While there is a kanji for 0 that can be pronounced rei, the number itself is also very frequently pronounced just zero, a Japanese reading of the same word in English, either using the kanji or just the Indo-Arabic numeral for the number 0. Going back to Trails again, they love doing complicated, hard to translate things in the titles of their games, and yet the Japanese title of Trails from Zero is just Zero no Kiseki. And then, similar to how in English we abbreviate 0 to O, you can also abbreviate 0 to O in Japanese, even though O is not on its own as one of the characters in the word. That means for our last substitution here, we replace the katakana for ze and ro with just O, and now 30 has turned into mi-o, or Mio. That is in fact literally Mio's name, as every character name in the Xenoblade series is written in katakana, even those that have Japanese-derived ones. This means that the Mio we've derived from the number 30 is not just an interpretation of her name, but literally her name, as it's never represented using any other characters. So we now have I Mio no Hi, or Good Mio Day. And yes, we did in fact have to go through, let's see, all 3 Japanese writing systems, the English-Latin alphabet, Indo-Arabic numerals, and Roman numerals if you went that way for 11, and you know what? That's not even the most circuitous route someone's gone to reach Mio in the past, and she deserves it anyway. So, happy Good Mio Day everyone. Until next time, this is Luxon, signing off.